I've got a bunch of fifth grade boys playing Fortnite in the background. I'm going to stay on mute as much as I can.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the MSAD 51 Board of Directors meeting for Wednesday, October 27th, 2021. We will call the meeting to order by roll call. Peter Bingham.
Yes.
Vanessa Bryan.
Yes.
Kevin Desmond.
Yes.
Ann Maximovich.
Here.
Tyler McGinley, present. Tom McGinnis.
I'm here.
Jason Record.
Here.
Jennifer Stewart.
Here.
Michael Williams.
Here.
And Madison, Dalton, and I don't believe Avery are with us. Okay. Seeing that we do not have any recognition, Dirk, I'll check with you one more time for public comment. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Okay, thank you. So we will then move into our first item for action, which is the approval of professional positions, GMS 6-8 grade 7 social studies. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions here? All right, and then we'll move on to a vote via roll call as well. Peter Bingham?
Yes.
Vanessa Bryan?
Yes.
Kevin Desmond?
Yes.
Ann Maximovich?
Yes.
Tyler McGinley, yes. Tom McGinnis?
Yes.
Jason Record?
Yes.
Jennifer Stewart?
Yes.
Mike Williams?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will then move to our second item, which is the approval of revolving renovation fund applications. Kevin, would you like to give any sort of background here or give the motion?
Talk about it? Up to you.
Go ahead. Just a quick recap would be great.
Well, my thought is once we have a motion and second in place, if anybody hasn't had a chance to reflect upon the materials that were disseminated, we can put those up and Scott can provide a quick overview. If you've had a chance to read that, then you don't have to worry about that. What we're talking about is being able to make application. We are making application to the Revolving Renovation Fund. And it's a great way for us to be able to get some additional funds to work on some of the needs that we have in front of us at Maple Eye in a lower cost type of arrangement.
Thank you. And do we have a motion?
You want me to read that?
Sure.
I make a motion that the Director of Finance, Human Resources, and Operations be authorized to file applications to the Maine Department of Education for funding of renovations for district schools under the School Revolving Renovation Fund program.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Anne. Does anyone have any questions or would like any further information regarding these or this application? Okay, Jennifer, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that just so the board understands that we did have a meeting and to discuss this in further length between the finance and facilities, just so everyone's understanding this process.
Kevin?
Yeah, building on what Jennifer said, there are 4 separate applications, one for windows at Maple Eye, one for the Maple Eye Wilson curtain wall, which is also windows. Another one is focusing on the security at Maple Eye, and then finally one for air handling in the multi-purpose room. And Scott, if you want to clarify anything that I just butchered, let me know.
I think you got it all, Kevin. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or information before we do a roll call vote?
I'm sorry. One final thing. Just this, Scott, can you explain the way the funding works so that anybody that's playing along at home understands why this is significant for us and why you've made such an effort here?
Sure. The revolving renovation fund is set up so that, and it's run through the Maine Bond Bank, and then there's an approval process through the Maine Department of Education. And what it affords is that we're able to apply for these projects that have various priorities from, health, safety, and compliance issues regarding, everything from indoor air quality, hazardous materials, being priority 1. Priority 2 are repairs and improvements related to health, safety, things like windows, doors, and those types of projects. And then you get down to priority 3, 4, and 5, which are more projects that have to do with like upgrade of learning spaces or repairs and improvements related to energy. So the revolving renovation fund has a finite amount of money in it. So it's not right now I believe there's probably close to $45 million that are available for projects across the state for school districts to apply for. And so the maximum amount that you can apply for in any priority area per school is $1 million is what could be the maximum approved within a 5-year period. So what we put together is about a little over $2 million worth of applications for these projects. And the reason it's important to apply for these and try to get as much state funding as it's possible is that the way it works is you make an application to the state. Our EPS funding formula puts us right at about a 50% cost sharing with the state of Maine. So that means that when we bond this, 50% of the principal could be forgiven. So we could literally be responsible for only $1 million based on $2 million worth of repairs, if you look at that number. The remaining 1 million, if approved, is at 0% interest. So it's basically free money, right? I mean, it's 0% interest, and so we could, if all of these projects were approved for over $2 million, we'd have responsible for 1 million at 0% interest. Approximately is what we're looking at. That would be the best scenario that we could be looking for. While there is a finite amount of money, many times only priority 1 and priority 2 applications get approved, but it really depends on the pool of applications that are received and what the need is across the state. So that's really how that would work. We would have to go out to referendum with a referendum question because it is a matter of bonding. And so the timeline aligns with the bonding schedule that we're considering for the school construction project. But it's a way to take care of a lot of the issues on the envelope of Mabel Wilson School, in a really cost-effective manner, as you mentioned earlier, Kevin. Okay.
Thank you, Scott. So I saw Tom's hand and then Ann's.
So I don't doubt that the work needs to be done. I mean, based on our plans, and the benefits seem really clear to me. Are there any negative consequences for applying for this? Like, if we aren't approved, is there a waiting period or anything like that?
These are rounds that happen each year. You're able to apply each year for. I don't see anything negative with the application. It's basically saving the communities of Cumberland and North Yarmouth quite a bit of money if these projects are approved. 50% off on $2 million plus 0% interest is pretty substantial if we can pull these off. But I don't see anything negative with this, Tom, at all.
Okay, thanks.
And I was just going to ask, because certainly these projects are, I would say overdue in a lot of ways. I know on the application it says that, like some of the things are coming to the end of their use period. But I guess, what do you think do we have high or low chances of getting approved? Granted, I guess that maybe you can't answer that based on how many other people have applied, or I guess I'm just trying to think, like, in the past, if you've gone through this process, were we successful? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Sure. I'm optimistic that a chunk of these projects will be approved. I mean, I'm optimistic about that. I'm always optimistic about, when I can try to get state funding for us, right? I mean, I've been involved with applying for some of these in the past. There's been such a small amount of money before and such a major need across the state that we haven't qualified for something around the revolving renovation fund. However, it's been a number of years since we've really applied for something like this because of the projects and the finite amount, and the fact that we had a major renovation to our high school, a brand new middle school. Mabel I. Wilson is really in need. And oh, by the way, the middle school was state funded, and Mabel I. Wilson School was state funded at a significant amount, close to 80-something% on both those buildings when they were done. So we got significant state funding on both those projects when those construction projects happened. The high school, there was no state funding affiliated with. But it's, I think it's optimistic, and we'll see what happens. I don't see any negative drawback to it.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I think it should be noted the legislature doesn't always fund the revolving renovations fund. It just depends on, it kind of goes back and forth. They'll fund it for a few years and then they'll stop funding it. And so we've gone through a period of time prior to this where there wasn't a lot of money for renovations across the state. And like Scott said, only 40-something million for the entire state. But so it'll be competitive. But I do think that because of our concerns around that building and the useful life of that building and the fact that it's aging pretty quickly. I think we have a shot at it. The other thing, I just want to make sure, then this is more for the public, that this project, if we were to get funded for some of it or all of it, has nothing to do with the enrollment, does not, fix in any sense any of the enrollment issues that we have. The enrollment issues would be obviously a separate bond. It has nothing to do with this. This is truly to fix things inside the building, the envelope of the building, some of the system upgrades, windows, etc. It's not about addressing the enrollment increase. We have 200 more students today at the Wilson School than we did just 5 years ago.
Thank you, Jeff. Go ahead, Scott.
Yes. I just, I think as Jeff was mentioning too, I mean, we've always tried to get as much state funding on projects as possible when we've had the opportunity. So Mabel I. Wilson School initially, the middle school, we've done some very significant energy projects in the district that actually were super low interest energy bonds, and energy lease purchase financing. So this is just another tool that we have available to us to try and take care of these concerns at Mabel I. Wilson School. Windows that we can't open, can't get parts for, doors that aren't functioning properly because they're quite frankly worn out and they're cement filled and the casings are splitting. There's a really serious need for these things to happen at that building, as Jeff said, outside of anything that would address new space that we need.
Thank you, Scott. All right, anyone else before we move to a vote? Okay. Peter Bingham? Peter, are you able to vote?
Yeah, my internet went down. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Vanessa Bryant?
Abstain.
Thank you. Kevin Desmond?
Now or after?
Yes.
It's fine the way it is because we're doing roll call.
Okay.
Ann Maximovich?
Yes.
Tyler McGinley, yes. Tom McGinnis?
Yes.
Jason Record?
Yes.
Jennifer Stewart?
Yes.
Mike Williams?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that on the finance and facilities for making this a priority. And Scott is having this hand delivered tomorrow instead of mailed so that we make sure we hit all the deadlines. So thank you again for making this a priority. And then our last item is to adjourn. This is a very quick meeting.
I'd just like to know why I abstained.
Would you like to share?
Yes, because it's due to a conflict of interest with a particular client on this that I needed to abstain. And publicly, we needed to make sure that that was separate.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, and do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, roll call. Peter Bingham,
Yes.
Vanessa Bryant,
Yes.
Kevin Desmond,
Yes.
Ann Maximovich,
Yes.
Tyler McGinley, yes. Tom McGinnis,
Yes.
Jason Record,
Yes.
Jennifer Stewart,
Yes.
and Mike Williams.
Yes.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Adjourned.
Good night.